Welcome to Cambridge Veritas. My name is Krishnatria, and in this lesson, we're going to be looking at IELTS Writing Task 1. Without further ado, the topic of the lesson for today is when it comes to writing Task 1, how do you write for charts, graphs, and tables? Before I show you the agenda of the lesson for today, if you're new to the channel, please do make sure that you subscribe and like all the videos if you enjoy the lesson, and most importantly, if you learn something new. In this entire series on IELTS Writing Task 1, I'm going to be your IELTS expert and trainer here at Cambridge Veritas. So without further ado, let's dive in. First of all, we'll understand what the agenda of today's lesson is going to be. So the agenda of this lesson is very simple. Have a look. We're going to be looking at three important bits in the next 10 to 12 minutes. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is when it comes to IELTS Writing Task 1, most of the students struggle with how do you divide your time. So we're going to be looking at 3 tips to divide your time easily. Point number 2, we're going to be looking at what is the appropriate length of the number of words, because a lot of students are confused with is it 150, can it be less, can it be more? So we're going to be looking at and answering those prevalent questions as well. And the last bit that we're going to be looking at is how to score more. I repeat, how to score more. We have a few interesting bits and activities that will come during the lesson, so stick around and make sure that you've got your pen and paper in hand. So here we go. The first thing that we want to talk about is, ladies and gentlemen, have a look, time. Now, I do know that you must have read a few books, websites, which basically talk about what is the appropriate, what is the length of the entire writing task 1. But let's have a look at the first bit here. The entire writing task is divided in 60 minutes. Once again, it is divided in 60 minutes. We know that. But there's something important to note here. We need to allow 20 minutes for writing task 1. Can I ask you an important question? What do you think you should do first, writing task 2 or writing task 1? I'm going to be telling you the answer to this question towards the end of the lesson today, but I would like you to answer this in the comment section below, and let's see how our thoughts match. All right? And give a reason as well, which task should be done first, because you can do either writing task 1 or 2. But which one should be done first? Let me know with the reason in the comment section. So you should allow 20 minutes, as we know, for writing task 1. But how should we divide our time is very important here. So there's a very simple strategy that we use. We call it PWR strategy. What do we call this strategy? It's very simple. It's called PWR. It may sound very simple, but a lot of students do not do that. So the activity is P as in plan for 5 minutes, W as in write for 12 minutes for writing task 1, and finally revise for the last 3 minutes. When it comes to practice, a lot of students struggle with this practice. So during our masterclass, we also, during the entire preparation of the IELTS complete course, we focus a lot on timed activities and timed practice, especially starting the second week, because it sort of helps student to perform the same way towards the end of on the exam date as well. So that's very important. So when you're practicing or self-studying, make sure that you use PWR strategy to do so. I repeat, PWR. So that's about time. And the most important thing that we study here is PWR is supremely important. Gotcha? Once again, supremely important. So here we go. Now we're going to be looking at length. On the last slide, we looked at PWR, which is an important element. You may not find it possibly on any articles written on the internet. What is something special about this slide? Now let's have a look at it. So the first thing that you need to remember is you must write at least 250 words. I repeat, you must write 250 words. Can it be less? To be honest, no. but can it be 10% more, like you're writing 15, 20 words extra? For sure. But in any condition whatsoever, make sure that you do not write less than 150 words. That's like, no, no, no. All right? The next bit is use only information that is provided in the task. But does that mean that students write their own opinion as well? That's a mistake. People do. So you do not have to talk about your opinion at all. Remember, it's report writing. That means you have to take the information and put it in the report. It's not an essay, it's not your opinion. It will come in writing task too. All right. Now let's have a look at the next piece of information. Ask yourself questions to focus on the task. There are three questions that you have to ask yourself. I'm now going to show you what those three questions are. Now, this is the most important bit. I would like you to pick any question, put the question in the chat box in the video below. This game is going to be very interesting because it will help other students as well to sort of practice. Pick any question, and on that question, you have to answer these three questions that I'm going to show you. Here we go. What is this graphic about? What is the meaning of graphic? It can be a pie chart, it can be a bar graph. So graphic means the picture that's shown to you. It can be a graph, it can be a chart, it can be a diagram. So what is this graphic about really? Is it line? Is it bar? Is it pie? What the hell is it? Question number 2. Which are the most important details here? I repeat, which are the most important details? Now, why are we talking about detail? It's very important. In a given graphic, there are gazillion details, isn't it? But you only have to select and report the main features. My main features can be different from your main features that I select on the graph. So pick the information that you feel is standing out for you. So these are the two important questions that you need to ask yourself, not three, just simple two, that you need to ask yourself the moment you look at the graphic. All right? Now let's move to the next bit, which is the length. What should we score? We are done with the length. What should we keep in mind when it comes to score? So there are 7 things to keep in mind. How many? There are 7 things to keep in mind. We're going to be looking at these bits one by one. And these are also some of the most common things that people easily forget in IELTS Writing Task 1. Shall we have a look at it? Here we go. So in order for you to receive a good score, this is what you should keep in mind. Number 1, address all the parts of the question. I repeat, make sure that you address all the parts of the question. If the question says report the main features, report it. If the question says make comparison, compare it. If the question says summarize the details, summarize it. If the question says give an overview, give an overview. Make sure, what do we call it? It's called task achievement. What do we call it? Once again, task achievement. So make sure that you achieve the it's also a band descriptor, right? On IELTS band descriptors. And how do you do that? By answering all the questions that are asked in the question. Number 2, summarize accurately the information, but there's something that you need to keep in mind. And listen carefully, I'm going to tell this to you. Do not summarize everything. You're not asked to summarize everything. Listen carefully once again. Do not summarize everything. You are not meant to do that. Please stop wasting your time. You only have to summarize main features. And how many main features? You can select 2 or 3 main features. How do we select main features is a complete lesson in itself, which we cover during our full IELTS prep course. In case you're interested, the link of this is available in the description below. You can join me on the live training. Those are not recorded. Please don't join a recorded course anywhere. It's only a waste of time, in my opinion. I've been teaching IELTS for the last 15 years. It doesn't work that way. You need hand-holding with IELTS. So accurately summarize not all the information, only 2 or 3 main features. Point number 3, use correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation. When it comes to grammar, make sure that there's a variety of sentences that you're using. You're using passives, you're using grammar, you're using present, you're using perhaps present continuous. All of these, you need to show variations of the types of sentences. Just imagine, if you were an examiner, would you want one student writing same kind of sentence everywhere, or would you want the student to sort of display variety? Variety shows that you actually know a bit about your craft. You know what you're writing and you know English as a language. Point number 4, write in complete sentences. This may look very simple, write in complete sentences, but students actually don't do that. So make sure when you're writing the IELTS Writing Task 1, it's complete sentence. And how do you keep that in mind? Hello, Bello. Don't fast forward the video because I'm telling you bits and pieces, important information within it that you'll have to sort of take ahead. Because otherwise, when you see write in complete sentences, you wouldn't know what I'm going to tell you now. Students do not put a full stop when they write the sentences. Or if they put a full stop, they put a full stop like this. Let me show you. They write a sentence, ding, 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 and then they put a full stop here. You do not need this space with the full stop. This is wrong English. All right? So make sure when you write a sentence, you put a full stop immediately after it. It's not fashionable. It is the rule of punctuation. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. Excuse me. Now let's look at point number 5. Make meaningful comparisons. For example, if you're talking about chocolates, don't suddenly start talking about the height of people. Possibly compare chocolates with another component of chocolate in a different state or whatever, because students end up making absurd comparisons as well. Comparisons should be that sort of aligned with each other. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. Gotcha? Point number 5, end with a brief overview of the information. Now, I know many of you would be wondering, why is Krish mentioning end with a brief overview? Is it mandatory? Ladies and gentlemen, it is not mandatory. Once again, it is not mandatory. Can I tell you a little secret? Sometimes graphics are very difficult to comprehend, and that's fine. So students are not able to select and summarize 2 or 3 main ideas or main points. For example, student is only able to do 2 main points rather than 3. So when they do 2, they are short of words, correct? And they have to fulfill the words as well. In that case, give an overview. Because you have to fulfill the demand of the word limit as well, which is 150 words. So remember that, please. All right? Once again, remember that, please. And the next bit is, here we go. Use your own words. Once again, use your own words. Do not copy exact sentences from the task. Why is that? Because it shows that you have limited knowledge of words and phrases in the language, and you do not have your own sentences to make use of. So the next time when you are paraphrasing the sentence, writing the introduction for writing task 1, make sure you do not copy as many words as possible. I mean, copy at any words at all. Try to make sure that you use as many synonyms as possible. That's the basic funda. That's the basic rule. All right, let's move on. Now, the last bit that I want to show you today is 4 most common mistakes that people make. I repeat, 4 most common mistakes that candidates make during the IELTS Writing Task 1. So the first one that I want to show you is here. They do not have enough words, 150, because the practice has been limited and they end up writing 140. You're bound to get 5 or a 5.5 if the sentences are simply written. It's important to reach the word limit by hook or by crook. Remember PWR? Always practice using PWR. Number 2, no planning, just writing. Now, this is a classic. I have done enough practice, and whatever Krish is saying is bullshit, and I'm sorry for my language, and I'm just going to write. I know exactly what I have to do. Big mistake. PWR. I've been doing this for a decade and a half, and if I were to write it again, I'm going to use a PWR because that's what I have been accustomed with. I also had IELTS teachers when I was young, getting trained, and PWR is a classic method that you should never forget. Number 3, Copy paste from the questions. We've just spoken about it. Do not copy paste from the question. Use as many synonyms as possible during the paraphrase sentence. And the last bit is missing key details. You've spoken about all the entire saga, but what you've missed is the key detail. That is not talking about main ideas and not making comparisons. You're just, or what students do is, what is the meaning of key details? If the question is asking you to make a comparison, make a comparison. Don't just report. So that's about missing key detail. So make sure that you summarize the key details and make relevant comparisons. I've got a very interesting thing for you. If you're confused about what is your current level um, of understanding when it comes to IELTS, then in the description below is a test your level link. Test your level of your current knowledge of IELTS. It's called Online IELTS Level Test. So go to the link, check what is your current level. You'll receive a very simple email mentioning what your score is, the number of correct answers, etc. If you want to retake it, you can retake it as many times as you like. There's also a description, in the description, the link of our complete IELTS course with me, which happens live, just like this, with limited number of students. It does not take place on YouTube. It takes place on our app, which is called My Veritas app, exclusively for those students who enroll on the course, which has tons of practice, tons of material. Internet has a lot of surface knowledge, but all strewn about haphazardly. My Veritas app has all of this all together, exactly what you need, with no noise, no drama. So in case you're interested, you can join my course, um, which starts every month, generally 9:30 to 10:30, but there are other options of batches as well. And that's all. Let me know how was today's lesson for you. Uh, Make sure that you scan the QR code if you can, if you've got a phone in hand, and let me know what you liked about today's lesson, and most importantly, what you'd like to study next. We'll keep on bringing more such videos, more such lessons. Thanks for being with me in this lesson. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao.